It's your boy, duckdonald42, and what the fuck is going on? We got, sorry, but we got welfare check reveals drunk son killed his mother. Oh shit, let's get right to it.
What's up, dude?
You go.
Why do I have you?
I'm telling you, she ain't gonna get up.
Police are at the home of Norma Carricker after receiving a frantic call from her son. He was heavily drunk, but managed to say enough. Someone ran out of the house, and he heard his mother scream.
Police department! Ma'am! Oh, shit.
Norma was already dead, strangled with a bungee cord.
We're needing some other units to clear the house. This looks like a homicide. You might want to get a canine track started. Somebody ran out the back door.
In the days that followed, detectives would uncover an extensive list of suspects, each with their own dark motives, jealous exes, hidden family secrets, a lucrative life insurance payout, and even a decades-old family murder, turning this seemingly simple welfare check into one of the most twisted homicide cases the town had ever seen.
Because you're our only link to information, Neil. Without you, we have nothing.
She had an escrow, millions of dollars.
Harry did choose with my mom, for her money, and I need to.
Whoa.
I took her one time. You're gonna fucking end up dead.
Then the kids would blame me because they know I didn't like them.
Said it was so good, make you want to slap your mom. I'm gonna kill the motherfucker.
In the early hours of a Wednesday morning, at 1:30 a.m., police in Troy, Illinois, received a confusing call from an intoxicated man.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
600 Lower Marine Road.
What happened?
Taken out. Huh?
Tell me exactly what happened.
My mom must have went on a date last night. I heard the guy leave out the back door and I didn't hear shit. And I went up there and heard the dog, and I went up there, my mom, I didn't hear my mom walk through the house. My mom ain't responding.
Your mom's not responding? Does she need an ambulance?
I didn't even want to go in there because they were like bang, bang, bang.
Does she need an ambulance?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, so are you wanting a welfare check done on her then?
Please.
Okay, what is your name, sir?
My name is Neil, N-E-I-L.
The caller struggled to provide clear details, but it was apparent that someone inside the home was unresponsive. With limited information, 2 officers were quickly dispatched to investigate the strange situation, not knowing exactly what they'd find upon their arrival.
What's up?
I hear the dog whining from the basement. Mom tells me she was up the kitchen that she's got a date on the way.
Okay.
And I guess it's that date on the computer or on the tenders or whatever. I don't know. I'm afraid to go in that room. I hear the dog whining in that room.
So you live here, sir?
I live in the basement, man. I had open heart surgery a year and a half ago. She turns the country music on real loud so I can't hear.
So she did that?
My mom does it every day. Blast it. Some old sorrow country music. Because she misses her husband or whatever, but she's bringing guys into the house. They have sex with them.
So unfortunately, she can't do that. We can certainly check on her, though, and make sure she's okay if you live there.
Please.
Certainly.
Man, the dog is whining.
So you live in this house, though?
I live in the basement.
Okay, so you live here. That's all I needed.
Man, I'm not... The dog is trying to get out.
Well, I tell you what, how about this? How about you go see if you can get her to come out here before we go inside?
Clearly intoxicated, Neil struggled to explain himself. It sounded like his mother had a date over, but he failed to clarify what was wrong. Despite their uncertainty, officers followed Neil inside, completely unaware of the gruesome murder scene they were walking into.
What's up, dude?
You go.
Why do I have to go?
I'm telling you, she ain't gonna get up.
Okay, but you can hear her?
She's not a word. I pushed her a couple times. She's bleeding out the mouth.
She's what?
Bleeding out the mouth.
She's bleeding out the mouth.
I like that.
Police department.
You said she's got blood coming out of her mouth?
I said, she's not. They call her name. I won't.
Ma'am.
It's blurry.
I heard a guy.
Oh, shit.
Officers stepped inside to find Neil's mother, Norma Carricker, lying unconscious on her bed with a cord wrapped around her neck. It was clear she'd been strangled, but Officer Alex quickly realized something else. She might still be alive.
Hey, pop him, detain him. Where did that guy go?
He went out the back door.
For right now, let's see your to take.
146, can you roll out here?
Listen, you're just being a table.
She appears to be choking. Somebody strangled her.
I'm putting him in my car. I'm gonna go look. Welcome me. Welcome me.
As Neil was detained and removed from the scene, Officer Alex immediately began performing CPR on Norma. She wasn't breathing, but her body was still warm, indicating she had only recently stopped breathing, and there was still hope she could be saved.
Hey, LT. Yeah. Come here real quick. She's still warm to the touch. Somebody strangled her. This is homicide, man. So we have not cleared the rest of the house yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep working on her. The son's intoxicated. He said somebody ran out the back. No description. We have him detained in the car.
He's in the car?
We have him detained.
Okay.
I don't know. He said she had somebody over here, but he said that she was just talking to him a couple minutes ago. She's warm.
Okay.
No pulse. Not conscious, not breathing.
Officer Alex continued performing CPR for over 7 minutes, desperately trying to save Norma's life. Paramedics soon arrived and immediately took over, continuing life-saving efforts. At the same time, officers scrambled to search the property for the man Neil claimed had fled the scene. A K-9 unit was dispatched to track any trace of the mysterious suspect.
You might want to get a K-9 track started. He said, somebody ran out the back door. He's intoxicated. It looks like somebody wrapped a bungee cord around her neck.
Okay, where was he at when you got here?
He was outside. We contacted him. Just a towel.
Basement stairs leading into the basement.
He said he sleeps in the basement.
Heading south. North back door. Door is locked.
Despite their efforts, the mysterious date seemed to have vanished without a trace, and the search revealed no tracks or evidence indicating where he'd gone. Back inside the house, there was nothing the paramedics could do to save Norma. Too much time had passed with her airway blocked, and she was declared deceased at the scene. What officers didn't yet realize is that Norma was the wife of the late Charles Carricker, the former mayor of Troy, Illinois. Since then, she's been trying to rebuild her life with her son, Neil Howard, whose own father had also died tragically years before. These details would become much more important later on in the investigation. But for now, officers had no immediate clues to track down Norma's date, so they brought Neil to the police station, hoping his sober recollection might help clarify exactly what happened. Initially, investigators believed they had a clear-cut case. Either Neil Howard was responsible for his mother's murder, or the unidentified date she spent the evening with was. But they had no idea Neil's interview was only the tip of the iceberg, and soon they'd uncover others close to Norma with strong motives to see her dead. But before we get to that, have you ever wondered what your ancestors were really like? MyHeritage is the easiest way to find out, which is why I partnered with them. They can help you build out your family tree and uncover relatives you never even knew existed. I started by entering MyHeritage's Magic 7 basic facts about my parents and grandparents, and instant discoveries exploded with 50 plus new relatives. They discovered Patsy Warburton Hilton, my paternal grandmother, and they were able to get a records match surfacing her official death record. This linked back to a photograph of Patsy's mother's grave. I colorized from 1940 that to Berg in 1891, probably in the parish of Sondre Innocen, with completely Let's get back to the investigation.
Hey, Neil.
What am I doing here, man? You recall my kid?
Here's the thing. You are our only link to any information at this moment. But we have to get the
So you know, actually, I'm going to the front room, and now I'm going to the wrong room.
We have to get the search warrant done before we can do anything there. Okay?
Why am I here?
Because you're our only link to information, Neil. Without you, we have nothing. I need you over here, though.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Dad.
Yeah, just I'll get you a bottle of water. Just it's fine. I'll get it for you.
Everybody's gonna be disappointed in me.
At the station, Neil's severe intoxication prevented detectives from reading him his Miranda rights or questioning him. They had no choice but to let him sleep it off overnight, hoping he'd be sober enough later in the day. By morning, police were back at Norma's home, preparing to speak with family members arriving at the scene. Until now, investigators only had Neil's unreliable story to guide them. However, this would soon change, as officers would unexpectedly cross paths with their next prime suspect.
So we're gonna let the coroner come out and talk to you too.
Okay.
Okay, kind of explain a little bit about
Is my mom deceased?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is my brother in jail?
He's being talked to right now about because he lives here too.
So we all just woke up and we all just kind of Neil blew my phone up last night, and so I just kind of had a feeling.
What do you mean he blew your phone up?
On Facebook, he told me that my mom had some guy over here and that they were, I guess, having or something like that, and it was gross, and so.
What time was that?
1:30. But I just wanted you guys to know that there's probably a bunch of people on their way right now to, my sister's coming, Neil's girlfriend's coming.
So how'd you get alerted to this today? What exactly happened?
I had a call from my friend that lives in this neighborhood back here at 5:50 a.m. I guess she was maybe on her way to work. And she called to see if everything was okay. So there was a bunch of police at my mom's with caution tape up.
Okay. Who was that? Who called?
Her name is Lori. She came.
When was the last time you talked to Norma?
Honestly, I haven't talked to her. It's been probably, I don't know. It's been several months.
When was the last time you talked to Neil?
It was last night before I went to bed.
What time was that?
Probably around 11. Between 1 and 2, I missed a gazillion calls. And then I woke up just a bit ago, and then I couldn't get any call and answer, and I got and just said we were just gonna meet here. That's what was going on.
She said he texted you?
Yeah, he was freaking out. He's like, I can't get her to respond what I do.
Do you mind showing me those texts, please?
He said that he couldn't get her to respond.
Which is different than what he told our officers, said he hadn't made contact with her yet.
Something's not going on. I think they're all involved in this shit. Like, I'm thinking, are they trying to have someone kill someone in their family and take them all the money? Because she has millions and millions of dollars. And I feel like the family's trying to kill her for the money. It seems like that so far. Could it be the son? You never know.
Yeah. son.
As officers continued speaking with Norma's daughters, Andrea and Jenny, and Neil's girlfriend Dawn, something odd quickly stood out. Despite being informed that her mother had just died, Andrea's demeanor was unusually upbeat. She seemed strangely calm for someone who had just lost a parent in such a violent way. But while officers were still gathering statements, their attention was suddenly drawn away when a white pickup truck slowly drove by.
Hi, is Norma all right?
Well,
she's a close friend of mine. Is Norma all right?
We'll discuss that in a little bit, okay, sir?
There's Terry Dietz.
That's Terry Dietz?
That's Terry Dietz. They have a very turbulent relationship.
This was the first time officers made direct contact with Terry Dietz. Dawn confirmed he was Norma's boyfriend, quickly adding that their relationship was known to be turbulent. Yet, when Terry drove by the scene, he referred to Norma simply as a close friend, clearly downplaying their connection. These details quickly placed Terry Dietz as a key person of interest in Norma's murder, and detectives would soon uncover that Terry not only had a complicated relationship with Norma, but also a tempting financial motive. So, to move forward, detectives brought Terry in for questioning later that day. They needed to understand the nature of this relationship with Norma, confirm his whereabouts on the night she was killed, and most importantly, find out if he had any hidden motives to want her dead.
Tell me.
Let me grab your writing utensil. I got
Okay. You gotta help me with some information.
Well, that's kind of what we need you for, too. We know you know Norma very well.
Yes.
I know you guys have been dating or in love or something like that.
Yeah. I never got really close to Norma.
So when is the last time you talked to her?
7:45 p.m. last night.
Oh, okay.
She asked me to come out to Lucky Rooster in St. Jacob.
So 7:45 p.m. at Lucky Rooster?
Yes.
You were out there and saw her?
Yes.
Was anybody else there? I'm saying
Just me.
Nobody else there or anything of that sort?
No, that's
Okay.
the same table.
Okay, perfect. No, not even at the table. Like, did it look like there was a guy hanging out at the bar, like he was trying to hit on her or talk to her or anything of that sort?
Oh, I didn't know.
You get what I mean by that, though? Like,
Yeah.
There's nobody else there type of thing.
Terry told detectives he'd seen Norma earlier that evening at her workplace, the Lucky Rooster. It wasn't much, but it was the first solid lead detectives had about Norma's final hours. However, something about Terry's demeanor caught detectives' attention. Terry seemed strangely calm, almost detached, despite learning that Norma had just died under suspicious circumstances hours ago. This lack of emotion would soon make more sense when detectives asked Terry about Norma's will.
Do you know if she had a will or...
He's involved too. I'm telling you, bro. Money is evil, dude. Bro, a will? And it's like a neighbor. What the fuck?
life insurance policy or anything of that sort that you would have been a beneficiary of?
Yes, I am the beneficiary on New York Life.
Okay. What is it?
How much?
What is it? You said it's New York Life. Is it her life insurance?
It's a life insurance policy.
On Norma?
Yes.
Okay.
This question wasn't asked at random. Detectives had already zeroed in on a critical piece of information Terry wasn't aware of. After his suspicious interaction with officers earlier in the morning, detectives took a closer look into his relationship with Norma. They quickly discovered...
Sorry for pausing, but what I meant by that, like when he asked, did she have a will, like getting money or something? The cop asked him, and he knows so much. He's so calm, and then he knows that she's dead, and he's like, "Oh." So, in a way, I'm like, "What?" He's involved with something.
Terry was the sole beneficiary of one of Norma's life insurance policies, and that just hours after learning of her death, he had already contacted the insurance company, urgently inquiring about collecting the $14,000 payout. And the timing couldn't have been more suspicious, as Terry's call came shortly after he drove past the crime scene and asked officers about Norma's condition. With this revelation, Terry Dietz quickly became one of the prime suspects in Norma's murder, alongside Neil Howard, Norma's volatile son, and her still unidentified date. Conveniently, once Terry started feeling the pressure, he began pointing fingers elsewhere.
I told Norma so many times that he needs to find another place to live. I told her, he's going to end up killing me. Why did you say that? He would get irate. I saw him get irate, this was several months ago, at Norma because she wouldn't give him any money to go get booze. She said, I'm done doing that, I'm not going to give you any more fucking money, blah, blah, blah. And he blew his top.
Terry wasted no time deflecting suspicion onto Neil Howard, characterizing him as an aggressive, violent alcoholic. Detectives saw through Terry's tactic right away, but this next statement would actually force detectives to reconsider Neil as a serious threat.
Is there anybody else you think of that we should talk to? Hey, you probably ought to talk to this person, or hey, this person. Somebody we wouldn't know or would miss, or hey.
That would kill Norma?
Well, that would even know anything about Norma, or they could relate anything to do with Norma.
As I sat there this morning, I was thinking about, going through records and stuff, and what them kids would blame me or accuse me of, because they know I didn't like them, because of the way they treated their mother. They were very mean to their mom.
Well, what do you know about her son with them now?
Well, I know she had a lot of problems with him. If I will, let me start with what I know. He killed his dad. Supposedly it was self-defense.
Terry's claim here wasn't just a defensive reaction. It was a troubling fact that would compel detectives to end his interview and shift their attention.
What the fuck?
On November 21st, 2005, in Mesquite, Texas, Neil Howard shot and killed his father, George Howard. According to Neil, the two had been drinking heavily and arguing throughout the day. The fight escalated when George fired a round inside the home. Neil claimed that during the struggle to take the gun away, it went off, striking his father through the eye and killing him instantly. Neil was 26 at the time. He called his sister Andrea, who urged him to contact the police. When officers arrived, they found him inside the house severely intoxicated. Neil insisted it was self-defense. He was arrested and charged, but the trial ended in a hung jury. Eventually, Neil was acquitted and the case was closed. Now, suspicion hung heavily over both men. Neil's violent past was undeniably troubling, and without corroborating his account and locating Norma's date, detectives couldn't clear him. Similarly, Terry's quick presence at the crime scene and his suspiciously swift attempt to claim Norma's life insurance meant detectives needed to thoroughly verify his alibi as well. Detectives needed to keep a close eye on both men for the moment and focus their investigation on identifying the mysterious man Norma spent the evening with. Fortunately, Terry had given detectives a crucial lead when he mentioned that Norma was working at the Lucky Rooster on the evening before her death. So to verify this statement, officers visited Norma's workplace to speak with her co-workers and collect any helpful information. When officers arrived at the Lucky Rooster, they discovered something crucial: surveillance cameras that had captured footage from that very night. What detectives saw on those recordings would open an entirely new set of questions. On the evening of September 12th, 2020, 2023, surveillance footage captured Norma Carricker leaving the Lucky Rooster with an unidentified man. This footage marked the beginning of Norma's last known movements. Approximately 30 minutes later, Norma and the same man were captured by cameras arriving at the Timeout Bar and Grill. Footage showed them spending roughly an hour inside, talking, drinking, and appearing comfortable in each other's company before leaving together. It was the last time Norma was seen alive. With a bungee cord used to strangle Norma, detectives quickly concluded this murder was personal, possibly a crime of anger or jealousy. They speculated that this mysterious date could have turned violent for some reason, strangling Norma and fleeing before police arrived. The absence of forced entry further supported Neil's story. Detectives now urgently needed Neil's sober recollection to identify and locate Norma's date. After several hours in custody, Neil Howard was finally sober enough to speak with detectives. They needed his recollection to gain some clarity. Without it, they had no way to identify Norma's date or determine Neil's own fate in the investigation.
She called me, usually expect her about 8:30, and she said she's gonna have company. And I heard my mom's voice, and I sit there in the bed and I'm listening. I heard them banging off either the headboard or the dresser.
Is that where they were sex at?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I heard her saying, "You ain't gotta leave. You ain't gotta go." And it wasn't because of me making noise. I didn't hear that, and I get up and check to make sure that the back door is closed.
And that's what you did? You went upstairs to make sure it was closed?
I went upstairs, I heard the dog whining in her room.
And did you go in there?
No, I didn't open her door.
Her door was closed?
I went down there, I was like, "Wiener, come here. Wiener, come here."
And you said the door to her room was closed and the dog was outside of the room?
No, the dog was inside, but the door was cracked. My mom wasn't hollering, or my mom wasn't answering. My mom's a very boisterous person. Right? And the way it went silent was eerie.
What made you decide to call
Because my grandma had an issue with my uncle that they try to say he sat with his ex-wife type thing.
Right from the start, detectives noticed Neil's story wasn't adding up. On the 911 call, Neil implied he had already found his mother unresponsive, but now, in the interview room, he insisted he didn't enter her room until officers arrived. Neil would continue giving fragmented accounts throughout the interview, struggling to clearly recall important details. But in between his confused recollections, he suddenly brought up another man, someone he claimed was actively manipulating his mother, Norma.
She got a guy, I'm gonna tell you this guy, I threatened this guy. Terry is his name. And she pays her, she don't need to work 3 jobs. Tom Carricker took care of all that. She has no bills. This guy, every day, she just was on his side to sue my other sister for 30 G's. This guy runs around town. She's supporting this guy.
You just know his name's Terry?
Terry.
Though the details were disjointed, Neil seemed upset with Terry Dietz, the same man already under suspicion of Norma's murder, accusing him of taking advantage of his mother, draining her money, and turning her against the rest of the family. Neil's anger towards Terry further confirmed detectives' existing suspicions, giving them even more reason to closely scrutinize his involvement. But by now, Neil had been at the station for several hours and was becoming anxious, demanding to leave. Detectives still didn't inform him of his mother's death, and holding him any longer without explaining why was becoming difficult to justify. It was time to deliver the tragic news and brace for Neil's reaction.
No, I gotta give him shit where he wants. This is gonna ruin everything. Everybody think I want to let her down slow. And I don't want to tell him at fault for nothing.
Your mom's deceased, right?
No.
Your mom was deceased.
I said she was hurt.
Your mom's deceased. So that's why we're making this into what we need to have you around available for us, okay?
No, I'd like to see my sister.
Oh,
right now. I heard you. Hold on, sit down, okay?
No.
So we're not leaving.
You're not leaving.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You're not leaving.
Oh, is that right?
Your mother's deceased. You know, you're the only person we know that saw her last that we can talk to.
I didn't see her last night.
You did too.
I seen her last night.
You walked in there when the officers asked you to. You were the last one there with her, so you're the only link we have to have.
You're the last person that saw her, correct?
He's lying.
I didn't see her last night until they told me to go in there.
Absolutely, we know that. But then you spoke with her at 8:30.
I knew it.
You spoke with her at 8:30.
Call my sister and let me talk to her.
After learning of his mother's death, Neil grew increasingly agitated throughout the remainder of the interview, eventually requesting a lawyer and forcing detectives to end their questioning. With Neil shutting down the interview and refusing to cooperate further, detectives had no choice but to find another way to identify Norma's mysterious date. Hoping for a breakthrough, investigators sent officers to search for additional surveillance footage from locations Norma and her date passed by that night, and they quickly hit the jackpot. One security camera clearly captured the vehicle Norma's date was driving. By running the license plate, detectives identified him as James Carter. Detectives urgently needed to speak with James, the only other known person at Norma's house that night besides Neil. When they first approached him, he was uncooperative and outright denied seeing Norma. It wasn't until officers obtained a warrant for his cell phone data that he and his lawyer agreed to speak, on the condition that James received immunity and would not be subpoenaed for the trial. Once immunity was secured, he cooperated, provided a DNA sample, and shared his account of the evening. James explained that he met Norma on the dating site Plenty of Fish and arranged to meet at her workplace before heading to the bar for a few drinks. After leaving the bar, Norma invited him back to her house and they spent an intimate hour together at Norma's. However, James insisted Norma was alive and unharmed when he left around 11 p.m. Cell phone data corroborated his story, placing him back in St. Louis, where he lived, well before the estimated time of Norma's death.
Guy?
With James Carter officially cleared, the investigation was narrowed to two suspects, Neil Howard and Terry Dietz. Both men had means and opportunity. Both shared complicated, deeply rooted relationships with Norma. But without any physical evidence, detectives couldn't solve this with timelines alone. They needed a clearer understanding of Norma's personal life to pinpoint which of the two suspects was more capable of killing her. To do this, investigators brought Norma's daughters in, Andrea and Jenny, as well as Neil's girlfriend, Dawn, hoping their insights would single out the likely killer. However, these interviews would instead reveal a hidden detail from Norma's personal life, one that would turn the very people brought in to help into potential suspects themselves.
Oh shit, that's a lot of money.
Sorry. So I greatly appreciate taking time to come and talk to me, so and the patience.
And then just, like I said, my biggest issue is, I love my mom. Me and my mom have always been super close, but this Terry guy came in and he has just totally broken her down.
So, do you think Neil could have ended up with an issue to hurt your mom?
I don't put it past him. Especially when he's drunk and drugging and, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what's been going on with your mom.
She was so in love with that man, it's sickening, and just my mom's relationship with Terry meant more to her, than the relationship with her daughter. Well, and I guess what I'm saying is that Terry just uses my mom, for her money and calls her fat and, she just lost a bunch of weight. That being said, she would look for love on a lot of these dating sites. And so when we were living with her, she would, Andrea, come here. She was talking to multiple different people. And I even said to her one time, I'm like, you're going to end up dead. Like, you don't even know who you're talking to. I've been over there several times since then, and this is what I can tell you. My mom and Neil are both alcoholics. My mom doesn't handle hers very well. She becomes very belligerent. And every time she's been belligerent with Neil, he always tucks his head and goes downstairs. I know my brother better than anybody in this world. Like, I am my brother's keeper, for real. And
okay, but the fact is, he's a killer, too. Because he was in the house, and this Terry guy, he's there, paperwork, money-wise, she is just trying to get no evidence of her brother for he don't go to jail, prison. I feel like she's lying, like really lying. And the other sister, I don't know. But this Terry guy, he's involved too.
He wouldn't have hurt her. He wouldn't have. I've been through this before, you know.
I know.
Andrea and Jenny's interviews further confirmed that Norma's relationship with Terry and Neil was strained, troubled, and complicated. And Andrea's subtle mention that she'd been through this before reinforced the detective's concerns about the family's violent past. However, when Neil's girlfriend, Dawn, entered the interview room, she would reveal something detectives never saw coming. A financial motive powerful enough to make everyone close to Norma a potential suspect.
Oh. Whoa. Money. Could be. Wow.
Dawn, I'm sorry. 3 other things come up, so I don't want to grab my cards. We're just heading to we need to go. You can.
6 o'clock this morning, no one knew what happened. And we all just pulled up. Terry shows up. Well, what happened to Norma? 6 o'clock in the morning, we all just showed up on site. Terry should not have known anything of what happened, but yet he shows up in front of the house.
Right.
So Norma had a date last night. I don't know who it was. She goes on these weird dating sites, which I warned her about. You don't know who you're talking to.
Right.
Norma has a habit of telling people that she's got all this money. So that's another thing to look into. Everything in my body tells me Terry had something to do with it. Norma's extremely depressed all the time. Terry is a big problem. If Terry thought that his income was coming to a close, if she was dating, it would probably make him very angry. She had an escrow, millions and millions of dollars. If Terry is beneficiary and Norma's gone, Terry gets up to $5 million.
So you're saying this year Norma would have gotten Tom's estate?
Yes. Like $5 million.
Whoa. So the whole fucking family is fucking involved. Oh shit. So Terry and the son, I guess, I don't know, whoever killed, he turned in the paperwork saying that she died, I think. I don't know yet, but this Terry guy, he seems like he put in the paperwork to get the money already. And he checks up on the family saying, I don't know her name, but is she okay or whatever. That's hella suspicious.
Do we know that for certain?
I think they're all involved.
That he was worth that much.
Yeah, for certain.
According to...
Oh, sorry. We're going back, but I feel like the lady right here, I think she has a white cap on with a black shirt. I feel like she's not, I feel like she might be involved, but she might be involved. But she's explaining a different story, so we never know.
That he was worth that much.
Yeah, for certain.
According to Dawn, Norma was due to receive a multi-million-dollar payout from the estate of her late husband, Charles Carricker, a former mayor of Troy, Illinois, and a longtime local businessman. This revelation changed everything. Suddenly, anyone close to Norma who knew anything about the money had a potential motive. Neil Howard, her financially dependent son struggling with alcoholism, Terry Dietz, her ex-boyfriend known for financial manipulation, and even her daughters, Andrea and Jenny, who stood to inherit a life-changing sum. With the suspect pool rapidly expanding, detectives began preparing to closely examine everyone who might benefit from Norma's death. But before they get to that, they caught a lucky break. Neil Howard suddenly requested to speak to detectives without a lawyer. He was quickly brought back for a second interview, where he would finally provide detectives with some clarity, or so they hoped.
My mom, she comes home from one job, she works like 3 jobs. She's a sugar mama to more than one guy.
Do you know these guys?
I know of one, but somehow she going online and meeting guys, random guys coming in and out of the house.
That's gotta be tough for you as her son.
I usually gone. I usually leave or I'm in bed. I'm asleep. I didn't even see her yesterday. She goes from one job to the other. And my sister was supposed to come by and take me to her old house, which is in Troy, to clean it, to make sure it was clean because she was showing it. My sister didn't have shown up. I can hear my mom upstairs. She comes in, changes shirt, changes shoes, and gone. She usually calls me when she's leaving her other job to ask me if she wants anything to eat. She called me later than usual. She called me, you can look at the phone, she called me at 9:30, I believe, about 9:15, and says...
You said 9:15?
About that time, 9:30. And she said, I've got to have company, which that means you can't make a noise, don't make a peep. Don't go upstairs, you're not there, basically. I said, alright, so what, I gotta hurry up. She said, just take all the clothes off the kitchen table and throw them in the laundry room. So I took all the clothes and threw them in there, and I pulled the door as close as I could, so nobody would see what was in there. So I didn't see her drop her car off, but when I went back downstairs, I heard the car door. I can hear it from the basement. Can't see nothing because the windows are real high. I called my girlfriend one more time and I said, so no chance of you coming. She broke her foot last weekend, so it's hard for her to drive. And I said, no chance you coming tonight? And she said, baby, I can't, but you got me all day tomorrow. And I started sending her like love songs and that. And then I called my sister again, wanted to know why she didn't show up and what am I supposed to do about dressing. I'm giving her away on Saturday. So I didn't want to wear a tuxedo or am I wearing dress clothes? No answer, so I bugged her for a while.
According to Neil, at around 10:30 p.m., he heard the sliding door slam shut, indicating Norma's date had left. While this matched James Carter's statement, it didn't explain why Neil waited almost 3 hours before calling 911, claiming he'd found his mother unresponsive immediately after someone had just left the house. Those missing hours were critical to solving Norma's murder, and the detective was about to put Neil's timeline under intense scrutiny to extract any major inconsistencies in his alibi.
Were you drinking last night?
I was.
What did you have to drink?
You'll see I got a big jug. It was probably sitting right there by my phone. I drank that on that jug 2 days.
So I want to go back to, I want to understand this a little bit more. Why this particular night did you decide to go check on her? If that's a normal...
I went because I heard the back door.
So you can hear the sliding back door over the country music.
So I could hear her talking to the dog.
Okay.
And she was like, get in here. And I heard her say to whoever was there, you ain't what? Hollering out her door, hollering, you ain't got to leave so fast.
So when you cracked the door to let the dog out of your mom's bedroom, could you see your mom?
I thought she was sleeping.
So then why did you call the police?
I called my sister and I called my girlfriend first.
If your mom sleeps face down in between pillows with a blanket over her, what made you decide to call the police? If that's a normal thing.
The dog was crying at the door.
This was the first major inconsistency in Neil's story. He was now admitting he'd entered his mother's bedroom and seen her covered with a blanket, completely contradicting his earlier claim that he didn't go in until instructed by officers. But rather than immediately calling him out on the lie, the detective decided to take a more subtle approach, carefully empathizing with him and probing the complicated dynamics between Neil and his mother. The goal was simple: to encourage Neil to reveal why he hadn't been fully truthful about that night.
You don't have a car, and to me, I guess where I struggle, and I feel bad for you, I do. I think that you got dealt a shit hand, because you poor guy, you've been through hell and back with health issues, and then you have to live in this basement.
Oh, the sewage, the gross.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you're expected to be quiet. Every time your mom brings a new man home, and you have to sit there and listen to her have sex. And I tell you right now, I would be upset.
This is a known fact. You can ask my sisters. You know, they're telling my mom is dangerous.
Your mom's dangerous?
No, these random guys.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but you know what, man? Sleeping in a basement, putting on earplugs to avoid listening to your mom have sex, and have random guys coming over and listen to country music real loud.
Neil's acknowledgement of the tension between him and his mother was exactly what the detective wanted. A grown man, financially dependent, stuck at home while his mother dated other men. Neil openly acknowledged this uncomfortable dynamic, yet remained emotionally detached, showing none of the rage previously seen during his arrest. As the interview progressed, Neil's responses began to slip, revealing more contradictions and doubts about his story. But one specific detail stood out to detectives. Neil never once asked how his mother died. Most people facing such news would desperately seek answers. Neil's lack of curiosity felt suspiciously intentional, as if he already knew. With this, detectives wrapped up Neil's final interview with uncertainty still surrounding his alibi, and shifted their focus back to Terry Dietz, their other primary suspect. After thoroughly examining phone records, DNA evidence, and multiple witness statements, detectives confirmed Terry was at home nursing a minor injury the entire night, never leaving his property after 9 p.m. Physical evidence from the crime scene further cleared Terry. Additionally, investigators carefully examined the possibility of Norma's daughters, Andrea and Jenny, having a financial motive due to their substantial inheritance. However, their phone records and alibis during the critical time frame were verified, and detectives found no additional evidence suggesting their involvement in their mother's death. So, with Terry cleared and Norma's daughters ruled out, detectives were left with just one suspect, Neil Howard. By now, it was clear Neil wasn't going to confess, but detectives were confident that the contradictions, inconsistencies, and his behavior following Norma's death provided enough proof to secure a conviction. Ultimately, investigators felt certain Neil Howard was responsible for his mother's murder, and they formally charged him. At the trial, prosecutors argued that sometime between 10:30 p.m. and 1:30 a.m., Neil, heavily intoxicated and increasingly volatile, entered Norma's bedroom. An argument may have broken out, or perhaps the tension had been simmering all day. At some point, Neil strangled Norma with a bungee cord, then covered her up with a blanket. Instead of immediately calling for help, Neil repeatedly tried contacting his sister Andrea, just as he'd done years earlier after killing his father. Phone records revealed that Neil started calling Andrea at 12:49 a.m., making 7 attempts to reach her, the final call occurring at 1:30 a.m., moments before dialing 911. The jury reviewed Neil's shifting accounts, the physical evidence, and his documented history of violence. Prosecutors painted a clear picture. Neil Howard was unstable, violent, and entirely capable of murder. On February 10, 2025, Neil Howard was found guilty of first-degree murder. His sentencing is still pending, but he faces up to 60 years behind bars. Special thanks to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video. Dive into your past right now.
Wait. He was the only victim? I don't get it. This Terry guy too. And the sisters? The financial funding? They're all involved. What? I would arrest them all. Fuck it. But, man, these videos, everyone's involved, bro. Everyone's involved. $5 million? Yeah, this Terry guy is taking advantage of the old lady. $5 million? And the sisters, too, complaining about Terry having financial stuff. They're all involved. Something. But that's the end of the video. I'll react to more So make sure you guys like, subscribe, put on those notifications. We out. Peace.